And then we're just gonna go like this. So we can create a bit of a shape. If we hit play, today we're gonna be testing out a really strange and interesting plugin by Excite Audio, Motion Harmonic. Supposedly it lets you draw, so let's dive in. We have our kick. 121 BPM is cool. Let's reduce the volume, change it to one shot, bit of a fade out at the end. Now what I'm going to do is just drag a few drum loops on top of each other to come up with a groove quickly. Let's go into subtle percussion loops here. Oh yeah, this one's cool. Has a bit of a hi-hat groove in between. So again, drag it in, reduce the volume. Perfect. Maybe just a bit of a shaker groove to assist the rhythm a bit more. Oh my gosh, yes. So I'm gonna dial that back down a bit here, duplicate that to the end. Perfect. So we came up with an idea pretty quickly. Now I can take the time to go in depth into the sound design. I'm gonna add Motion Harmonic to a bass sequence that I've just created. If you'd like to see a separate video on how I create these bass sequences, you can click this video up here. So I'm going to load up Motion Harmonic. Straight from the beginning, it looks very interesting. Like there's a bit of a blob here in the middle and these little tiny white dots that seem to be attracted to my cursor, but doesn't seem to be doing anything just yet. That's because we need to change a few of the parameters here. We see a few distortion / bitcrush, sample rate reduction, and filter parameters. So this plugin seems to be dedicated to distortion and filtering. I'm going to adjust a few knobs just to see what we can come up with, particularly with this bass line that we have going. How about we reduce the bit rate a bit? So we're going to add some crunch here. Adds a bit of a white noise layer. Cool. Okay. Reduce the sample rate. Interesting. And then we're going to make it follow the pluckiness. So now the distortion is following the envelope of the bass line. Let's add some drive. Some character. Woo! Broda. Also on the distortion, we can also make it follow the envelope with this dynamic knob. We can change the tone, make it sound really squelchy, high frequency-ish, or low frequency-ish. Okay, let's test out feedback. Let's crank up the amount. There's a bit of like a phaser / flanger? Flanger? Ah, there we hear it. But I'm gonna leave that at 0 for now. And what's interesting now is that we can map each and every single one of these parameters that we've tweaked to one of these sections here that will ultimately control how these guys move. So let's just drag and drop the bit depth up here. Okay, so we see this panel opening up. We can set the minimum and maximum values here. Sample rate, we're going to put here. The distortion drive, we're going to put that down to 5 here. The character, we're going to put it here. So we're just basically mapping a few different parameters to different sources here. And now let's hit play. So wherever I move my cursor, those white knots or white dots, they seem to be attracted to my cursor. And depending on the white dot position, the sound is morphed. A really weird, interesting plugin here. But let's say we don't want to have our cursor doing this motion all the time. We want to have our mouse within our session. That's where this motion panel comes into play. So we can click motion here, and then we can determine if our mouse should attract these white knobs. So you can see this circle here, this large circle around my cursor, which attracts these knobs. But we can also tell it to repel. So whenever our cursor comes close to these white knobs, they're being repelled. So it's almost like playing a video game. And I can shift the timbre or the tonal character of the sound just by moving my mouse around. So it's a really fun toy to play around with. And I can also reduce the range of the circle, so you can see the cursor or the circle around my cursor becomes smaller. go there, dude. You can see them slowly moving back. Also set like the release time. Then they move differently. Tip, 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 tip. Really strange. So now we're going to go into draw mode and draw a few different points. So our cursor is going to move automatically without us having to move all the time. So we're going to create this shape over here. Then we're going to hit play. And you see our cursor automatically moves within this little section here. We're going to increase the range so our circle becomes larger. Then we're going to play. It's like really weird sound design stuff here. Then I can go back into the audio panel each time and map different parameters to these slots here. So let's say we want to adjust the feedback amount here. I'm going to drag that here. Yeah, I feel like this plugin is really cool and interesting if you just want to have a bit of fun and just mess around with weird sounds and see if you can come up with interesting sound combinations. Really interesting UI. I don't think I've ever seen something in this style before. And the most interesting part is that we can also draw our own line. So we're going to hit record here, record, and then we're just going to go like this. So we can create a bit of a shape. Okay, then we can stop the recording here and just trim the endpoints. Yes, whatever that is. Now our cursor is gonna follow this path. If we hit play, what the heck, dude? Can change the timing here. Dude, it's like so random, dude, but it's fun to mess around with. You can also go through presets up in this panel over here. Just hit play. And there seems to be different kinds of presets. There's presets just for these effects. There's presets just for the cursor, so just for this little movement thing. Let's play that with the entire track. Yeah, and just go through a few different presets to see if we can come up with some type of interesting tonal variation. Let's go to creative. That's kind of what I like about these plugins. They don't necessarily give you the sound that you're looking for. They mostly are designed to create something new, create something that you can mess around with in maybe a different context. So I'm working on a bass line right now, but perhaps I could also create a new audio track and select everything that's coming from our bass line layer. So track 5, Diva, and record that into here. Let's hit record. Whoa. I'm just gonna run through a few presets here. What I'm going to do is just mute out the first original layer, the Diva track, and see if I can loop up a certain section here or create something new. I kind of like this snippet over here. So I'm going to take it, put it at the beginning, duplicate it, because I feel like I could make a nice pad out of this sound. Just low cut it. And now we're going to add reverb. Increase the gain a bit more, so add that low cut after the reverb here. So, and then hit freeze. Cool. And then we can create a new layer, resample that into here. Sounds like something that we could use in a build-up section or something like that. So what I'm going to do is delete the original track and then play this guy here. Maybe low cut it. High cut it, low cut it. And then we can blend the original Diva layer in here. Cool. Then again, we could go through a few different presets. Maybe pitch it up an octave here. Interesting. Take out the kick. So like tension, tension, tension. You. One, two, three, four, and cool. Yeah, shout out to Plugin Boutique for sponsoring this video. I don't normally like to do these sponsorships, but I feel like this plugin has been really interestingly designed in terms of the UI and the fact that you can just friggin' you can draw in your DAW. It's just like, never seen that before, so I thought I might give it a try to see if I could come up with combinations in sound, you know? Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.